And that shifted the reality of my business from $2,385 in a month in January to 18 times that in December, directly linked to Scene. Now, there's a part of me that as I say that, I'm like, oh, I'm not sure I want to be talking about money because I really have been triggered with money in the past. And I say, fuck that. Welcome to the Wild and Finally Fucking Free podcast show. This is a space where truth talking gets real, behind the scenes grit of the future humans is laid bare, and we are celebrating and sharing the real raw stories of change agents, neuro-sparkly people, the witchy wild women, the deep feelers, the unapologetic sensors, the status quo challengers, and the huge-hearted healers and helpers. And guiding you through this wild ride of entrepreneurship and full heart-led contribution to the world is me, your host, Kylie Patchett, aka KP. I am a proudly neuro-sparkly, natural-born status quo challenger, and I thrive on helping disruptors, rebels, and revolutionaries find their voices, amplify their message into the world, and harness their raw potential, alchemize it into unleashing your full potency. Not only will I be sharing the behind the scenes of some of the most amazing, most status quo challenging thought leaders, I'll also be lifting the veil behind my own business. In 2024, I 18x'd my monthly income. Still blows my mind to say that. And this year I am leaning into how joyful and fun it would be to shift from 6 figures to 7 figures in a quantum shifting year. All through leading from my full unapologetic voice, my unleashed potency, and with my big, wildly lit up heart leading the way every single step of the way. So we are going to share the mess and the magic, the tea on identity shifting behind thought leadership. So together with my guests, I am going to be sharing the mess and the magic, spilling the tea on the identity shifts behind stepping into thought leadership, breaking the ties that bind us, unlearning old patterns, and reweaving brand new ways of living, loving, learning, and leading. We're here to break boundaries, reimagine what's possible, all while collapsing timelines and leading with joy, love, and our fiercest wild woman selves. This is not just a podcast. It is a rebellion. It is a revolution. It is an invitation to join the Mad Hatters collective movement. And by Mad Hatters, I mean all the colorful, creative, gorgeous, world-changing, out-of-the-box humans out there. If you've ever longed to be wild and finally fucking free, this is your sign to lean in. Let's get started. Hello there, gorgeous ones. Welcome to 2025 and welcome to season 5 of the Wild and Finally Fucking Free show. I am so excited for this year. I am so excited. As you've probably come to expect now, if you've been a long-term listener, we have again refreshed the look and gotten sweeter and sweeter and juicier about exactly who we are speaking with on the show. And this season is so aligned to sharing the inside, behind the scenes stories of disruptors, rebels, and revolutionaries. And I've so come in the last few months to such a clarity about the fact that the community that I'm growing, the people that are magnetized to me in my full expression, which has been such a journey in 2024, are people that I now feel are the Mad Hatters of the world. And by Mad Hatters, I mean when I was doing a ideal client meditation towards the end of 2024, I had such a clear vision of being in this beautiful enchanted forest, and I opened this magic door and this hedge, and I stepped into this enchanted forest and everything was lush and emerald green. And it was the same sort of scape that I see when I feel into the soul of my business. And as I came into this secret garden with all these gorgeous luminous blooms and little lights in the trees and just gorgeous, gorgeous, gorgeousness, I saw this super long table with all these spectacular humans at it. And I looked around and there was so much joy and verve and heart wide open connection happening. And I was like, oh my God, this sisterhood, this connection, and with these precise people. And as I looked down the table, what I saw was all of this color and spark and enthusiasm and radiance and juicy conversations. So many women joining hands and hugging and really, really in connection and community with each other. And I was like, oh my goodness, my ideal clients are like the Mad Hatter's Tea Party. They're the colorful people. They're the creative people. They're the out of the box people. They're the people with the wild, colored glasses and the mismatched socks and the gorgeous way of moving through the world that says, I am in my unapologetic full expression. And I am often neuro-sparkly like me. I am an out of the box thinker. I'm a status quo challenger. And I am here literally to invite the world into new ways of being, new ways of learning, of living, of loving, of leading. And I was just like, this is a full body fuck yes to me. And since that magical meditation, the entire idea behind something that completely changed the trajectory of my business in November of 2024, because out of that clear ideal client meditation came this absolute clarity around the fact that my days as a done-for-you storyteller doing copywriting and graphic design for other women had come to an end, because there was a whole new evolution of what I wanted to do in the world that, yes, combined the magic of storytelling, combined the magic of clarifying and amplifying your message, but actually there was a whole level of myself that I had not been bringing to the table, and that is this wild, witchy, energetic healer who has got this hugely strategic left-sided brain, but also this out-of-the-box, join dots that people can't see, do magic, land magic, ritual to really sink into this energetic capacity, receivership that has completely changed the game for me in my own business. And I wanted to bring all of that to the table. And my coach at the time, the beautiful Sam Garcia, who's been on the show and I've talked about multiple times, was like, well, what do you really want to do? And I'm like, I want to run a voice and visibility activation, because here's the thing. If I do done for you copywriting and storytelling, that is giving a woman in business a fish. But if I write the most magical, captivating, perfect copy and that woman goes out into the marketplace without the mindset and energetic match for receiving recognition, creating income and impact and influence through her wild, unapologetic self and her gifts in the world, then I'm actually setting her up to fail, because I'm giving her one piece of the equation, but I'm not giving her the other. And so from that idea, the scene, voice and visibility activation came, and it was literally designed to bring the magic and power of storytelling together with the identity shifting and the energy capacity building to be right on the edge of what feels comfortable in terms of being seen and heard and recognized as someone who has something important to say in the marketplace. And here's the difference. Done for you gives a woman a fish. Combining the two and teaching a woman in business, particularly an out-of-the-box, neuro-sparkly woman in business, how to trust herself and how to align to the ocean of ideal clients, the ocean of soulmate contributors, the ocean of abundance that is actually the truth of who she is. That is teaching a woman to fish for herself. Because yes, and I absolutely stand by still, storytelling, copywriting is one of, if not the most important skill that we can have in our own businesses, because you can have the best freaking thing in the world, but if you can't share about it, if you don't know how to invite people to your world to grow a body of work that actually tells them who you are and what you stand for and what they can expect by working with you, that gives the feeling of who you are and what you truly deeply value, then you've only got one part of the equation. And if you are, on the other hand, a beautiful healer and helper, and often my clients are, and you've got all of this energetic capacity building, or like you're a somatic coach or something, or you're a mindset coach, and you've got that part of the equation, but you haven't got the other part, then again, I'm giving you a fish versus teaching you how to fish. Now, when I made that decision, that single decision, and decided to actually come out of the witch box, out of the broom closet, as the clients that were in the scene activation actually heard from me, and share the fullness of myself in the world, has completely changed every single thing about my business and a lot of my life. And here's what the shift has been. When you are not spending your time and energy trying to not show parts of yourself, when you are trying to fit yourself inside of a box, when your sparkly unicorn ass cannot fit into any box, and definitely not the round holes that you've been taught all your life you should be able to fit into, because everybody should in the old systems of oppression. When you're not spending all of that time and energy hiding parts of yourself and playing out old stories of not being good enough or not being ready or whatever, when you just decide to shift into the identity of I am all in, and I am trusting my gut feel, and I'm trusting that vision of my ideal clients and what I want to create, what is calling from the soul of my business to be co-created with me. And I'm just the channel. All I need to do is just open my mouth and allow it all to come through. Then you are plugging back in to your full power and magnetism. And I tell you what, that live call on November the 15th, there was 200 women in that scene container live with me. 107 women came to the opening call live. And there was parts of me that still wanted to like lock it all down and plan it out and make sure that I knew what I was doing, in inverted commas. And I really realized that that was a part of me that was seeking the sense of safety that was totally a perception. And what I decided to do, and what I've kept on doing the whole of 2024, is just chosen that I already know exactly what needs to be said, that I can trust myself to show up and share from my heart. And it is the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth of what I know and have learned and have lived through and am able to mentor other people through. And that very likely in future, I will learn more and be able to give more and mentor more and guide more, because I will be expanding through something different. And so that opening call, we did an opening circle where we literally held out our hands like we were standing next to each other. And I tell you, I don't actually know what a spiritual awakening is. Like when people say that, I'm like, I'm not really sure what that means. And it sounds a little bit wanky, to be honest. But in that opening call, for the very first time in my life, I felt like the sense of my heart opening and widening, and these delicious threads of this golden and purple energy literally like unfurling from me and connecting to wild mad hatters, the witches, the woo women, the healers, the helpers, the magicians, all of the people like me that have been taught that we're not okay the way we are, because we've been taught that being out of the box is not the correct way to live. All the status quo challenges, all the ones that have been taught too loud, to this, to that, to whatever. And to that I say, fuck that, because opening that circle and allowing the full magic of who I am as a woman, but also allowing myself to be seen and heard in my full self-expression was the most delicious activation for every single human in that circle. Because when we allow ourselves to shine, when we don't expect ourselves to be perfect, when we can show up and be vulnerable, be open, be wildly unapologetic about the fact that, you know what? This is not going to be a perfect experience. You know what? I cannot touch type to save myself. So there is going to be spelling mistakes in pretty much every single page of what you see during this experience. And it doesn't actually matter because the magic is us connecting to each other. Hey gorgeous, we interrupt this gold for a delicious invitation. If your whole body has been whispering more lately, more voice, more truth, more satisfaction, more clients of the soulmate variety, more cash, more you, then this invitation is for you. Potent, my sister mind is officially open. This is my high touch, holy fuck, I'm ready sister mind for rebels in good girl clothing who are done outsourcing their power and diluting their magic to fit into someone else's business formula. If you have been craving a space where your strategy, your voice, and your energy all get to be offered, honored, refined, and amplified, this is it. Inside of Potent, you'll get my eyes on your business every single week, copy mentoring, and that is for brand copy and content storytelling that turns your truth into client catnip, energetic recalibration that helps you unhook old learned limitation patterns, keeping you quiet, not being seen, not being heard, real-time, high-touch, one-on-one coaching that actually sees the bigness of your vision, and the kind of sisterhood that does not flinch when you show up in your full, messy, brilliant, phoenix rising from the ashes glory. This isn't surface level support. It's deep, potent, paradigm shifting work that changes who you are as a woman in business and a woman in life. We start in August. Early open access is open right now. For the month of June 2025, inside of this early access open doors period, you will receive juicy bonuses, extended payment plans, and access immediately to my entire library of storytelling gold. You'll find all the juicy details at kyliepatchett.com/potent. And we fill spaces, and there's only 10 of them, and more than likely only 5 by the time you listen to this, because by that time I will have offered them to the existing cohort, the beautiful original OG circle. We do actually take applications on a first come, first served basis. So come and apply, and let's get back to the magic of the episode. And being unapologetically seen and heard. So from that circle, and just so that we're clear, like when Sam said to me, how many people would you like in this circle? And I said 200. And straight away I said, but I don't know how that's going to happen. I can't see how that's possible because I've never done it before. And this is the other thing that I've been really feeling into. A lot of the time in my life, when I've gone to do things that I've never done before, I have mistakenly felt this sensation in my body is a lack of safety. But actually what I was feeling all along was a lack of comfort. And you know that old saying, a comfort zone is where you can just do the rinse and repeat that you already have or always have. And for me, my comfort zone has always been sourced from hiding parts of me that I didn't think were okay to be seen, and downplaying the magic of who I am as a woman. But when we choose to not hide ourselves, that is when true magnetism can run our business. And from that point, from that one identity shift of choosing just to hold the pose of being a woman who can hold a feeling of discomfort, and the comfort thing is only because I haven't done it before. Geez, I'm wildly uncomfortable. I've never been in a live event with this many people before. I've never trusted myself this much before. Now, if I listen to my fear brain, I definitely could have gone down the track of like, you're going to fuck this up. It's not going to be what you want it to be. Da, 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 da. I walked away from that call and I went out to my husband, and I honestly, if you could have bottled the life force like pulsing through me, I reckon we could solve a lot of things in the world, because I felt high, and not from any outside substance. I felt high with the connection to the truth of who I am, and being in co-creation with 200 women in that container, and actually seeing the ripple effect that me choosing to shift my identity and just give it a crack and hold the level of discomfort and just choose to have an identity of someone who has self-trust. From that direct decision, that point in time, that one ideal meditation, 200 people joined me live, and now I'm just looking at the numbers coming into my community. There has been 198 more women go through the self-study experience of Seen, which you can get instant access to on my website and on my, all the Instagram channels and everything. And on the daily, I get notes saying, oh my God, Kylie, I have never felt so seen before in my life. From one opening call, this is. Often people are messaging me and voice noting from the one opening call, not even the 11 days of content that we went through and the transformation of the actual experience. And this is also what I learned from that experience, is your intention and your energetic vibration and frequency makes so much difference. So when we go into creating a group or making an offer and we have got a foundation of self-doubt or fear of things not working out, that is how you sell it. That is how you invite it. You do not feel that your success is inevitable, that the perfect people are just waiting for you to put out that bat signal and say, this is the best thing. Like, I was so wildly lit up by Seen, and I sold Seen unapologetically, and I continue to sell it unapologetically, because for $33 for 11 days, more than 12, probably 13 hours of content, and the fact that that ripple effect continues to ripple out into the world. So I really want you to hear, if you are at a stage in your business where you know that you're hiding parts of yourself and you have not had the identity shift to being a woman who has something really important to say, and that your message is needed and wanted in the world, that there's literally people out there in the world praying for the precise medicine that is inside of you. But if you keep fucking around thinking that you're not good enough, or that you don't know how to be the leader, or you're not willing to go first and hold that level of uncomfort or discomfort in your body and build your capacity to hold so many conflicting emotions, you are not just ripping yourself off. You're ripping your family off. You're ripping yourself off, because I have to say, every single thing in my life has been positively impacted by that one decision. Because when you start to realize that you don't have to be perfect, that you can soften, that you can open, that you can be receptive, that you can get out there and shine, you know what happens as a natural result? Every single relationship in your life becomes softer, more receptive, richer, more full of love and compassion. You're more able to hold the space of like, they're just being the fullness of who they are, and that's okay. I don't have to necessarily like it. I don't have to necessarily, be in connection with them if they're doing that, but I'm not going to make them wrong for it. Because every time we make someone else wrong, guess what we're doing? Every time we criticize someone else, guess what we're saying? You have to be a certain way to be okay in the world, and it's utter bullshit. The quicker you can delete that from your head, the better your life will become. Also, as a direct result of the Seen container, when I opened the potent Sister Mind and Expansion portal that starts on the 1st of February this year, I immediately had 6 ladies directly from the Seen circle. One of them has already been a long-term client, much loved, ideal, beautiful client, totally a Mad Hatter. And the other 5 came from being in the Seen circle. That is a crazy, wild thing to say. They came in, most of them through an ad on Facebook for a $33 live event, and then they invested in a 5-month expansion portal. That is crazy, and that sort of magic only happens when you are crystal clear about who you're talking to and who you're magnetizing and who your medicine is for. So, in 2024, I shifted from being a done-for-you copywriter and graphic designer, giving women in business a fish, to a leader, to a revolutionary, to a woman lit the fuck up and totally liberated from so many stories that she had. And that shifted the reality of my business from $2,385 in a month in January to 18 times that in December, directly linked to Scene. Now, there's a part of me that as I say that, I'm like, oh, I'm not sure I want to be talking about money because I really have been triggered with money in the past. And I say, fuck that, because I'm here to tell you that if you have any trigger when I say that, then you've got shit to clean up and you are not creating the income that you could in your business. Because all the trigger says is, hey, there's something here. There's something that's giving me an emotional charge, that is giving me an ick when someone talks about creating wealth through their business. Now, off the back of running the live activation Scene, I have mapped out, I've got a client who's one of the ladies that signed up for the Potent Sister Mind. And she said, oh my God, Kylie, it's like Scene was the baby that you were trying to birth for 10 years in entrepreneurship. And now once Scene was out in the world, you had octuplets, because I have been on fire with creative force. Even my coach the other day, she's like, how are you doing all of this? And I'm like, I'm just letting my work move through me. And I'm trusting that my body and my heart and my soul and the soul of my business know far better than my little tiny fear and doubt brain. And so I'm moving from the identity of someone who has something really important to say. And so one of those activations that I've planned out is the paid wealth and worth activation. Now that is coming up January 13th to 17th. So I'm actually recording this only a week before it. But I wanted to share about it because so many of the conversations that I have been having, like inside of Scene around voice and visibility, but also with applicants to the masterminds and other conversations I'm having. Because one of the other things that I did in this period was decided to voice note as many new people to my Instagram page as I possibly could. And some weeks I haven't been able to because it does take a bit of energy. But I have had voice note conversations with well over 1,000 people since, I don't know, first week of November, maybe last week of October. And something that comes up time and time again is, as an out-of-the-box quirky human, we are still trying to play by the muggle rules that say that we have to work hard, that marketing has to be by a certain formula, that all of your group programs or your offerings need to be a particular way. And I just want to say to you so loudly, when you are out of the box, the very worst thing that you can do is try and dilute or shove yourself into a tiny little container that is not meant for you. Because if you are attracted to being here and being part of the Mad Hatters community, I can tell you without a doubt, without even knowing you personally, that your work in the world here is to break open the world to a new field of possibilities. I like to call you future humans. It's one of my HD incarnation gates, the future human. And it's about those of us who can sense and feel more deeply, that see things that other people can't, that are often the people that work in the other dimensions. So not just the 3D, but, multi-dimensional, multi-timeline, the people who are open to magic, the people who are opening to the full expression of themselves. We are here to offer up the new paradigm. And now astrologically, we are in, we moved from, oh my God, now I've forgotten. The big shift that just happened into Aquarius anyway. Anywho, doesn't matter. The stars are wildly aligned for those of us creating new paradigms. But the thing is, if you are trying to run your business and also make offers and also make invitations to those offers according to old rules or shitty mindsets about, I don't have faith in what I'm doing, or I can be a 6-figure business owner, but there's no way that I could get to a 7-figure business owner. Or if you're like me and you've had any muddiness in your generational line around working hard to make money, and those people that don't have to work hard to make money or haven't because they've been like more entrepreneurial or they've inherited wealth or whatever, are somehow like cheats or assholes or whatever. Like I was in the car with my mum the other day and we saw this beautiful, I think it was a BMW. Cars are not my thing, but anyway. So this beautiful car go past. It was this delicious shade of blue. And I was like, damn, that is a sweet ride. And my mum goes, ugh, as if you'd spent that much money on a car, more money than sense. And I had this feeling in the back of one of my shoulders. I was like, like that is so familiar to me. I grew up in that ocean. I grew up with a family that identified as people that battled. And I'm not making my mum wrong for it because, you know, I'm from a multi-generations of like Irish Catholic. My dad was born in the Depression. He was long-term army. He didn't even retire until he was 80. And my mum is from dairy farmers. So dairy and beef cattle farmers, like they work bloody hard. And yes, they might have boom years, but they also have bust years. And I realized in that moment, so much of my inability to create healthy cash flow in overflow came from the fact that I still had really dodgy beliefs about receiving and about wealthy people. And if you have any of that in your energetic body or in your mindset, your mind wants to be right and your body doesn't feel like being wealthy is safe. And then if you add on to that most women, and particularly if you're also of another majority like BIPOC folks or anyone that's been, you know, adversely affected by any of the systems of oppression, any of the isms, differently able, ageism, whatever, we have been taught that we are not as powerful as other people. That's how a system of oppression works, right? There's an oppressor and there's someone underneath that is not in power or doesn't have equal power. And so by definition, we have been taught that we can't hold anything that gives us power. And guess what that means for women? Don't show your magic. Don't speak up. Don't rock the boat. Do not, under any circumstances, think about having enough money to have choice or freedom or a seat at the table of the power structures, because that's for the blokes in suits. And so paid has been designed by me, and we actually are meeting this time. Last time seen was a live call and then 11 days of voice activations and then a closing call. This time I've decided to do everything live because I love the vibe of being in a live room where literally you are recalibrating your nervous system to a completely different level. And my intention with paid is that you are recalibrating to an energetic and mindset and spiritual capacity receiving that is receiving and a match to the ocean of abundance available to you, the ocean of contribution that you can create from your heart and your fully expressed self, the ocean of love and connection and sisterhood that is there for you. I'm talking wealth in every single form. And one of the key things, that we will be working with inside of paid is that your net wealth and your ability to receive is so, so linked to your concept of self-worth. And it doesn't matter how much you can logistically, consciously say, I am worthy. If you've got any shit playing out below the surface that says, no, I'm not, or I'm not ready, or I'm not the identity of a powerful person, it's not safe to be seen in my full expression, I can't use my voice to speak out in the marketplace, guess what you'll be doing? You'll be doing shit like undervaluing your services, so you're over-delivering and undercharging. Or you won't be selling at all. Or when you sell, you're selling with such an ick factor because you are not vibrating at magnetism and like delicious, heart wide open. Yes, of course you want to be in this thing because it is going to be magical. then you're going out and you're making piss weak offers in the marketplace and then creating more of the same level of abundance. And this goes for you if you're new in business or you're at any sort of income ceiling. So I am naming and claiming, and going to be very open and vulnerable with the journey that it takes me on, because I know that being on the edge of my own expansion is like, it feels like holding all of the feelings at the one time. So I used to say inside of scene, I'm discombobulated, terrified, and elated all at once. And it can feel really confusing to your nervous system because your brain is trying to say this is really unsafe. There's a part of you that's like high as a kite on your own life force. And there's a part of you that's like, there's too much turbulence here. I'm going to collapse back into old stories. And just being able to live through that experience and then invite people to calibrate to me at this identity of a thought leader, but also an imperfectly perfect human being. Someone who is neuro-sparkly, and I lose my fucking glasses at least 50 times a day. But do you know what I'm claiming this year? Going from a 6-figure year in my first full year of business back in the marketplace, in my second turn around the entrepreneurial flagpole, to $1 million in income, and not just focusing on the dollar signs, creating that quantum shift in a way that feels wildly fulfilling. So not working harder, actually trusting that my heart and my soul already know the way. Will I get to $1 million in 2025? Who the fuck knows? But I know that if I'm not going out in the marketplace with the fullness of myself and trusting my gut instinct, which is to close down done-for-you services and is to do much more of this activation and catalyzing and being in circle with delicious human beings like you, I am choosing to hold the edge of someone who can create like mind-boggling results. Like total reality, like I'm, giving the air quotes around reality, like reality bending, untapped, unleashed potential that is just waiting to be birthed. And the cool thing about the paid activation is that when we are live, when we're calibrating and when we're learning how to be devoted to ourselves energetically and mindset wise, then when we learn strategy, then when we learn the storytelling, then when we learn how to clarify and amplify our message in the world, we are doing it from a rock solid foundation of like, of course, my success is inevitable. Time is the only variable. So I'm going to live every day trusting myself, knowing that tapping into my power and unleashing the fullness of who I am is the fastest, most magnetic way to actually create quantum results in the field. And that lights me the fuck up. So that's my plans for 2025. Now, paid is 13th to the 17th of January, so that's the next activation. I am also opening the Mad Hatter's Home membership, which means that when you come to an activation, you can stay in the room, stay in the vibe, stay in the frequency explosion of being able to have an access to a community where you are truly seen, heard, and valued as a Mad Hatter, as a quirky individual, and where you can actually get live coaching from me a couple of times a month and meet me for my Soothe sessions, which is my mind, body, and breath self-care sessions live a couple of times a month, and have ongoing access to a community. Because when we normalize creating gobsmacking results through our out-of-the-box disruptor, rebel, revolutionary selves, it just becomes like, of course I'm doing this. But when you are in isolation, when you're trying to fit yourself into a 5-step formula, when you're trying to do it the done way, all you're doing is recreating more and more evidence that it is not going to happen for you. And that has got to stop, because God knows the world. There's so many systems breaking open at the moment. So it is time to rise, to shine, to be your full self. So, as I mentioned, from the 1st of February, the potent sister mind and expansion portal starts. And that is for those of you who are relating hard to what I am talking about. You're already in business. You already know what you're offering to the world, but you know there's a next evolution. You know that there's clarification and amplification of your core message. You know that there's some parts of you that you're still not sharing and shining out into the world. And you want to go from untapped potential to unleashed potency. So I'm calling it a sister mind because I hate that masterminds, I don't know. I hate that mastermind's got the word master in it, let's be honest. But my intentions and my seeding for this beautiful circle, and there's 15 spaces, 6 remaining at the time of recording, is that you get high touch mentoring around everything to do with your marketing and communication, your visibility, and also have a really safe, really warm, really welcoming space where I'm always going to be inviting you into your liberation. And when limitation comes out to play, learned limitation comes out to play, that you will have a safe space to dissolve, to energetically reweave the truth of who you are, and then to unashamedly take your seat at the table as the wild, amazing, world-changing woman that you know damn well inside is there. So underneath this episode, all of the links are there. I cannot wait to dive into 2025. I have never been so freaking excited about a year. I am going to be taking a couple of weeks off soon because I am just about to turn 50. So at the end of January, you'll see a couple of summer series pods come out where we're sharing some of our favorites from season 4 whilst I go and celebrate. And I'm so looking forward to, I'm just so looking forward to entering a new decade with this, how to describe it, with this delicious feeling of being able to step into, like, to continue the journey from the Empress archetype that I worked with 2024, which was all about owning my truth and understanding my natural cycles and being creative and abundant and like really connected to nature. And I feel already that this year is about just rising and the occurring of destruction and shedding of all the other stories I will no doubt meet that are old, ways of being, patterns, generational hooks that are ready to be burnt in the cauldron, and then rising again and creating from the identity of a fuller version of me and continuing that process through the whole of 2025. Here's to magic, here's to truth, here's to power. I wish you so much love. I really hope that being here and hearing like the truth of what it takes to actually build a business that nourishes you just as much as it nourishes your clients, and the truth of what it takes to actually heal and transform any conditioning that we have received that it is not safe to be seen and heard and receive money for the fullness of who we are. I hope that you absolutely love season 5. We have so much magic in store for you, so much behind the scenes gold. And, I feel like I feel like so much of my softening into myself is really truly understanding. And for those of you who know human design, like human design has been, and astrology has been such a gift to me, just surrendering to the way that I am naturally, like not measuring myself against external standards. And one of the things that I'm really, really wanting to embrace this year is that my natural design as a sacral generator 3-5 single definition is that basically a 3-5, our role is to go out, trial and error, trial and error, trial and error, fuck it up enough times to actually learn, and then come back and share with our community. And what that actually takes is truth talking and vulnerability and inviting people behind the scenes of my business and life and really, really sharing the truth of what I'm going through. And so this season in my solo episodes, who knows what will happen? Like maybe I'm going to have awful, painful, like collapses back into old limits. And maybe I'm going to be wildly soaring one minute and not the next. But I'm not going to sugarcoat anything because I feel like sharing honestly, particularly about the energetic capacity expansion and what it is like to hold all of the feelings that come with being at the edge of your expansion as a thought leader, sharing the truth of that just normalizes the fact that these people who are already thought leaders, who you look up to in the marketplace because they're rebels, revolutionaries, they speak up or whatever, they didn't start there. There was a point in time where they made a decision to speak up, to choose to believe that they had something powerful to say, and they've tried and they've fucked it up and they've failed and they've learned and they've grown and they've evolved into who you see now. And the biggest disservice I've ever given myself is looking at other people who are already out there shining and being themselves unapologetically and thinking, I'm never, ever going to get there. I'm never going to be that woman. I'm never going to be able to be that comfortable in my skin. I'm never going to be able to show all the parts of me. And so this is going to be a very special journey. I'm excited for what comes unfolding. And like I said, I haven't chosen my word for the year, but I think maybe the archetype is the phoenix. I don't know. I'm still feeling into it, but I really love the symbology of the phoenix, like dying and rebirthing, dying and rebirthing, dying and rebirthing. So I do feel like through the whole scene expansion, which, it's still ongoing, what I was really, really, really present to was that there was old versions of me and parts of me that were dying, and I was releasing, that I was alchemizing through taking action aligned to the wild woman inside of me. And then I was doing this rebirthing as the new identity, but I was doing it so rapidly, minute to minute, day to day, that I seriously feel sometimes like I'm going to meet my yesterday self coming down the hallway towards me, because I literally feel like I'm not the same woman that I was yesterday. And I certainly am not going to be the same woman by the time we hit December 2025. So here's to diving in. I hope that you will join me for paid in January. If you're listening to this after January, no problem, because it will be self-study at the same link in this episode. And if you are desiring high-touch mentorship that combines the energetic and mindset components as well as the strategy, and like a massive fucking permission slip to stop trying to fit into a box and just shine as your full unapologetic unicorn sparkly self, I would love to invite you to Potent. So links below. Here's to a magical 2025. The story that I am inviting for myself, that I'm stepping into, and I'm choosing faith over fear and courage every step of the way, is that in 2025, I will turn 50. I will celebrate 25 years of marriage with my beautiful husband by heading over to Thailand or Vietnam. I will travel in September to Denver, Colorado to be part of Living Brave Alive, which is part of my new mastermind that I'm in. And I am claiming being on that Living Brave Live stage, shining the fuck out of the first 9 months of a story that has allowed me to shift identities so rapidly that wealth in all forms is raining down on me. And I am shining so bright and having so much fun and have magnetized the most delicious humans to work with and connect with and sisterhood with. And that I will arrive on the final day of 2025 feeling like I have given it my all, but in a very different way to my old way of being, which means giving my all means working hard, working every single hour of every single day, sacrificing my health, sacrificing my play. I mean giving it my all because I've shown up and I've shone and I've trusted myself and I've responded and I've co-created with the universe. And if that is where I end up at the final day of 2025, I will be deeply, deeply satisfied. And I'm so excited you're here for the ride. Goodbye, my love. We'll see you next week. There you go, beautiful one. Another delicious, juicy, truth-talking episode with a disruptor rebel or revolutionary sharing the identity shifts and the mess and the magic of leading right on the edge of your expansion and going first as a visionary leader, as a woman creating a business and inviting people to completely new ways of learning, living, loving, and leading. It is not lost on me that you have invested your time and your energy in listening to the show. I am so grateful for your beautiful heart, for the work that you do in the world. And I know that if you're here, you are more than likely one of what I call the Mad Hatters. So the quirky, colorful, creative, out of the box, often neuro-sparkly, paradigm shifters and thought leaders. So I'm so grateful that you're here. If you loved this episode, which I'm sure you did, please do me a favor and share it with someone else who needs to understand that their quirkiness and their full unapologetic self-expression is more than enough and in fact is the secret sauce to growing a wildly successful, abundant, nourishing, sustainable business. So here is to us, the Mad Hatters, the crazy out-of-the-box people saying no to old paradigms and inviting into the new. And if you'd love to go the extra mile, please make sure that you subscribe on the platform that you're on so you never miss an episode. And hey, it would be sweet, sweet, sweet if you would leave us a 5-star review. It means the world to us and it helps us get this truth talk and this magic and this power out to even more Mad Hatters. So have a beautiful day and I will speak with you next week.